Welcome to today's episode of the Becoming Her podcast. This is your host, Faye Jones, and today we're stepping into something that hits a little too close for a lot of us. The cost of overgiving, not just being generous, not just showing up. I'm talking about the silent soul drain that happens when you're constantly pouring out and nobody's pouring back. Let's get right into it. There was a season in my life when I found myself in a one-sided friendship. I was present, I was available, I was doing what I thought a godly woman should do: support, encourage, be there when people are hurting. But somewhere along the way, that friendship became a transaction. She'd disappear for days or weeks, but as soon as her world started crumbling, my phone would light up. Suddenly I mattered again. And because I'm wired to help, to serve, to stand in the gap, I answered. But after every call, I'd feel it, that dizzy effect, that drained, soul weary fog, like I'd just walked through someone else's emotional battlefield barefoot. My body knew it before my mind did. That kind of exhaustion isn't just physical, it's spiritual. Now, here's the hard truth most Christian women avoid: overgiving isn't holy. It's actually a counterfeit version of service rooted in fear, obligation, and broken identity. And if you've been calling burnout obedience, sis, we need to talk. There's a difference between godly service and self sacrifice that strips you of your strength. Godly service is spirit led, it's sustainable, it bears fruit. But self-sacrifice that leads to burnout, that's flesh-driven, it's performative, it leaves you empty and resentful. Galatians 6:9 NLT says this: "So let's not get tired of doing what is good. At just the right time, we will reap a harvest of blessing if we don't give up." Notice what Paul said: doing what is good, not doing what is manipulative, not doing what people guilt you into. There's a huge difference. Let's pause right here, because I know some of you are out here running on fumes, thinking your exhaustion is evidence of faithfulness. But exhaustion is not your assignment. You're not supposed to serve with a broken spirit. And you're definitely not supposed to confuse martyrdom with ministry. The enemy loves to weaponize our compassion. He knows high achieving, faith filled women like you don't like to quit. So he sends people who only show up when they're in crisis and vanish when they're good. And because we see it as helping, we ignore the red flags. Here's what I need you to hear: access is not the same as intimacy. Just because someone can reach you doesn't mean they should. And just because you can help doesn't mean you're called to. That's why I've had to learn the hard way to anchor my service in stewardship, not savior syndrome. And sis, that includes stewarding your body too, because burnout doesn't just hit your spirit, it takes a toll on your physical health too. That's why I don't just rely on prayer. I support my body with what it needs to recover from those seasons of depletion. For me, that looks like moving my body in strength, reminding myself I'm not just a helper, I'm a builder. I'm not just lifting burdens, I'm lifting heavy in the gym. I rock Just Strong fitness wear because it reminds me every time I look in the mirror, I'm not weak for setting boundaries. I'm strong for it. You can check out my favorite gear at fayjoneslive.com/juststrong. That's FEJONESLIVE.com/JUSTSTRONG. And when I need my energy, hormones, and focus to be on point again, especially after going through emotional heaviness, I lean on Primal Queen supplements. Because restoration isn't just spiritual, it's physiological. Check them out at fayjoneslife.com/primalqueen. That's FEJONESLIFE.com/PRIMALQUEEN. Now, back to what we're really talking about here: your boundaries. Boundaries are not walls, they are gates. Gates open and close, and you have the authority to decide what comes in and what doesn't. Jesus himself had boundaries. He walked away from crowds. He withdrew to pray. He didn't respond to every need the way people wanted him to. Luke 5:16 says, "But Jesus often withdrew to the wilderness for prayer." If the Son of God needed solitude and discernment, why do we think we're being holy by being constantly available? And I get it. Some of us were taught that being a good Christian means being selfless to the point of invisibility, but that's not biblical. That's conditioning. Psychologically, overgiving is often tied to childhood patterns. Maybe you grew up having to earn love by being helpful. Maybe you were praised for being the strong one. So now, as an adult, you measure your worth by how needed you are. But that's not love. That's bondage. So here's your challenge this week. Ask the Holy Spirit to reveal the relationships where you're overgiving out of fear, not faith. Ask Him to show you where your yes is actually hurting you and them. Because when you overfunction, others underfunction. And that's not love. That's dysfunction dressed up in a Bible verse. You weren't built to burn out. You were built to pour out from overflow, not depletion. You're allowed to rest. You're allowed to say no. And you're still a godly woman when you do. So today, I'm giving you permission to step back, recalibrate, and protect your soul like it matters, because it does. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode. If this spoke to you, go back and listen again. Share it with the woman in your life who's always running on empty. I'll see you next time.